The presence of certain women seems to carry a magnetism that transcends physical beauty, something Carl Jung would describe as the manifestation of an integrated psyche in complete harmony. Often this powerful aura is mistaken for arrogance, but in reality, it is a sovereignty gained after many processes of reconstruction and silencing external noise. Have you ever felt an energy that doesn't need words to be noticed? A glow emanating from a place of deep and unwavering self-respect? Jung believed that our external energy is a direct reflection of the work we do on our own inner shadow and light. When a woman decides that her peace is non-negotiable, she begins to emit a silent signal that wards off chaos and attracts what is true. The awakening of this force is what separates those who seek approval from those who have already found their own sovereign approval. This invisible glow doesn't arise by chance, but from the courage to face the final stages of pain and transform them into practical wisdom for the daily journey. Women with this powerful aura don't allow toxic past experiences to define their current identity because they master the art of inner change. They walk with a clarity that disarms patterns of control and emotional manipulation, acting as a mirror that reflects only the truth about those who approach. For Jung, this energy is the result of the individuation process, where the woman becomes who she was truly born to be, without the shackles of social masks. The liberation from these external expectations creates a vibrational field that communicates security, maturity, and a self-worth that no one can diminish or shake. It's a frequency of peace that acts as a natural shield against any attempt to invade boundaries or show disrespect. A powerful aura is felt in the way a woman occupies the space around her, without rushing to explain herself or to be understood by those who are unaware. She understands that her vital energy is a sacred resource, and that its awakening depends on protecting this force against influences that seek only to consume and wear it down. Often, the reconstruction of this aura requires the closing of cycles that once seemed vital, but are now seen only as unnecessary burdens. Jung explained that the soul renews itself when we leave behind what no longer serves us, allowing the essence to shine without the clouds of confusion. This spiritual and emotional shift is what creates the magnetism that intrigues and attracts the respect of all who value integrity. The conscious woman does not fight for attention, for she is the very source of her light, shining from within with a serene intensity. Many people seek external formulas to increase their charisma, ignoring that the hidden secret lies in the quality of our connection with the self, our divine center. Women with a powerful aura invest time in self-reflection and maturation, transforming each emotional shock into a stepping stone to a much more robust consciousness. They don't run from the shadows, but integrate them, understanding that wholeness is what makes us radiant human beings and truly protected against manipulation. The rebirth of this strength requires you to stop empowering those who have hurt your heart and begin to nurture the garden of your own soul. By becoming whole, you stop seeking crumbs of affection because you understand that your own company is a banquet of peace and self-respect. This is the foundation of the aura that defies time and marks the presence of a queen of herself. The presence of these women is transformative because they accept nothing less than reciprocity and clarity in all their social and emotional interactions. They emanate a maturity that is the fruit of conscious choices and the decision to live in harmony with their own deepest values. The awakening of the powerful aura is, ultimately, the return to the soul's home, where liberation from controlling patterns finally consolidates into freedom. Jung left us the map, but it is individual courage that paves the way for the reconstruction of an image that the world cannot break. The aura is the physical proof that you have won the silent battles against doubt, and that you now inhabit the throne of your own consciousness. Each step taken with self-respect strengthens this energy field, making you unreachable by the shadows of others' immaturity and selfishness. The first secret of women with a powerful aura lies in the mastery of silence, a tool that Jung saw as the womb of all profound and creative transformation. Unlike the silence of submission, sovereign silence is a conscious choice not to waste vital energy on those who lack the capacity to understand your essence. When you stop explaining yourself to manipulators or immature people, you retain your power and signal that your truth is non-negotiable. This behavior creates a barrier of self-respect that imposes automatic limits without the need for aggressive confrontations or exhausting discussions that drain vitality. Rebuilding your peace begins when you understand that not everyone deserves to hear your voice or know your deepest secrets. Subscribe to the channel now to strengthen your daily awakening. A woman with a powerful aura observes more than she speaks, using her intuition like a high-precision radar to identify hidden intentions. She understands that silence is a form of absolute presence, where she remains centered while the world around her desperately tries to grab her attention and energy. Jung explained that the ego seeks noise, but the self manifests in stillness, and it is in this space that the reconstruction of the soul truly flourishes with vigor. By mastering the art of emotionally withdrawing from disrespectful situations, she preserves her self-worth and keeps her aura intact and radiant. Sovereign silence is the mark of someone who has found themselves and no longer needs the noise of others' approval to confirm their own importance. It is a silent force that communicates dignity, clarity, and a maturity that few people can genuinely achieve. The impact of this signal is devastating for those who try to exert control through emotional manipulation, because silence removes the fuel for unnecessary and futile conflict. The conscious woman knows that her word has weight and only uses it in environments where the seed of respect can truly germinate and grow. She doesn't feel obligated to fill voids in superficial conversations, preferring the depth of her own company or connections that honor her intelligence and sensitivity. This detachment from the need to convince others is what generates the magnetism of her aura, as she emanates an independence that is rare and fascinating. Sovereign silence allows her to process pain and transform it into a cutting clarity, separating what is real from what is merely toxic projection. She is the guardian of her own inner portal, deciding who enters and who remains outside her peace. Often, the turning point in a draining relationship happens when a woman decides to adopt silence as her definitive and unwavering response. She understands that ending a cycle doesn't require lengthy justifications, but rather a firm withdrawal that protects her mental health and spiritual awakening. By embracing this secret signal, she rebuilds her aura piece by piece, removing the emotional hooks that previously kept her trapped in patterns of self-deprecation. Jung saw silence as a purification ritual, where the soul cleanses itself of external influences to reconnect with its primordial and divine strength. A powerful aura is born from this cleansing, shining with an intensity that frightens the weak and inspires the strong who seek the same integrity. Silence is your throne, and from it you govern your own life with an authority that dispenses with applause and external validation. This silent clarity is felt by everyone around her as a vibration of calm that can effortlessly soothe storms or expose the falsity of others' masks. When a woman inhabits her sovereign silence, she communicates that she is the master of her destiny and that her mind is no longer for sale to those who offer only crumbs of affection. The reconstruction of her identity passes through this phase of withdrawal, where she strengthens her boundaries and matures her perception of human reality and its shadows. Her aura becomes dense and protective, allowing her to walk through hostile environments without being affected by the projections of those who still live in control and immaturity. It is the first sign of an awakening that has no turning back, a liberation that begins in the mind and manifests in every fiber of her energy field. Cultivate your silence, for it is the foundation of all your power and proof that you are sovereign. The second secret sign of a woman with a powerful aura is her gaze, a window that Carl Jung would describe as the meeting point between the conscious and the unconscious. It is a gaze that doesn't shy away from reality, but sees through the subtle manipulations and the cracks in the social masks people try to maintain. This gaze of complete truth is calm, yet possesses a depth that makes those in the shadows feel uncomfortable and exposed. It is born from the integration of one's own shadow, meaning that this woman has already faced her own monsters and therefore fears no one else's. The clarity of this sign communicates that she cannot be deceived by empty promises or artificial charm, because her vision is calibrated with the truth of the soul. It is a light that illuminates the environment and demands that everyone around her level up or retreat into obscurity. This sign manifests itself in a presence that doesn't need excessive adornment to be noticed, as the silent strength of her gaze already says everything necessary about her self-respect. Women who have undergone emotional reconstruction processes develop this keen vision as a form of protection and discernment in their new social connections. They understand that disrespect often begins with small gestures and subtle words, and their gaze captures these frequencies even before control takes hold. Jung explained that consciousness is a light that dispels complexes and manipulations, and this woman's gaze is the physical manifestation of this spiritual light. When she looks at you, she sees not only your persona but yourself, forcing an interaction that is real, profound, and straightforward. The powerful aura is fueled by this courage to see things as they truly are, without the filters of illusion or the desire to save those who don't want to be healed. Often this sign is what provokes irritation in emotionally immature people, as they cannot sustain their lies in the face of someone who sees the truth. The gaze of complete truth is the result of a maturation that has accepted pain as a teacher and reconstruction as a permanent and resilient lifestyle. It communicates that the phase of allowing devaluation has come to an end, and that now only transparency is accepted in the sacred circle of this conscious woman. This sign is a compass that guides her steps away from emotional traps, allowing her to identify the gold amidst the gravel of common human relationships. The powerful aura becomes unshakable when the vision is clear of needs and fears of abandonment that previously dimmed the sparkle in her eyes. It is the gaze of someone who has already crossed the desert and found the oasis within herself, no longer needing to seek water from contaminated sources. Reconstructing your aura necessarily involves cleansing your internal and external vision, removing the cobwebs of doubt that toxic patterns have tried to plant in your mind. Jung viewed vision as a creative act, where the way we look at the world determines the reality we attract to our own life experience. By cultivating a truly integral gaze, you signal to the universe that you are ready for the ultimate liberation from all ties that do not honor your divine light. This secret signal acts as a magnet for authentic people, while simultaneously repelling those who live in superficiality and control over others. The strength of your aura resides in this radical honesty, which begins with yourself and overflows into all your relationships and projects. Your gaze is the testament to your survival and the announcement of your unconditional and absolute sovereignty over your destiny. To develop this trait, it's necessary to understand that truth, although it may hurt momentarily, is the only ground where true healing can flourish and bear fruit. Women with powerful auras don't close their eyes to disrespect hoping it will disappear, but confront it head-on to decide their next strategic turn. This gaze is accompanied by a peace that comes from knowing you are no longer a hostage to others' narratives and that your conscience is your only legitimate judge. The reconstruction of your aura ends when the sparkle in your eyes is no longer dependent on someone else's love, but on your own passion for life and your evolution. It's the awakening of the queen within you, whose eyes are beacons of truth in a world full of shadows and cheap illusions. Honor your vision, for it is the key to your total liberation and the strengthening of your energy field. The third secret sign of women with a powerful aura is unwavering serenity, a boundary-setting stance that Carl Jung would describe as the pinnacle of emotional sovereignty. It's the ability to remain at inner peace, regardless of attempts at manipulation or pressure from the external environment. This serenity is not passivity, but a silent strength that communicates to others that their control tactics no longer have access to her heart. When a woman reaches this stage, she understands that her vital energy is a precious asset and that she is the sole guardian of the portals to her own conscious soul. The reconstruction of this boundary is what allows her to walk through valleys of shadows without being shaken, because her inner light is now sustained by unbreakable self-respect. How have you been protecting your serenity from the attacks of those who only seek to steal your peace? Leave your question below so we can discuss these boundaries. Unwavering serenity manifests in a calmness that disarms those who seek conflict or emotional reaction to feel powerful and in control of the situation. Jung explained that the projection of others only affects us when we have emotional hooks where it can cling, and maturity removes these hooks. The conscious woman does not feel obligated to react to every provocation because her clarity about her self-worth is superior to any attempt at external devaluation. This secret signal is what creates the ultimate protective aura, allowing her to close cycles with elegance and without the weight of guilt or prolonged resentment. She understands that her peace is the foundation upon which her entire life is built, and that protecting it is the greatest act of love she can practice for herself. This emotional shift is what transforms a victim of toxic patterns into a master of her own reality and spiritual destiny. To rebuild this boundary, it's necessary to embrace the idea that limits are, in fact, bridges to healthy relationships and walls against draining experiences. Women with a powerful aura are not afraid to say no or to walk away when a breach of respect becomes a repetitive pattern in their connections and circles. They understand that boundary intrusion is a clear sign of immaturity on the part of others, and that their only responsibility is to their own integrity and deep healing. Their unwavering serenity allows them to observe the behavior of others with wise detachment, without being sucked into the labyrinth of mental confusion and gaslighting. This signal communicates an authority that is felt by all, establishing a new level of interaction based on truth and mutual unconditional respect. The powerful aura is the result of this firmness of character that does not bend before threats of abandonment or unfair criticism. Jung viewed the integration of the animus, the masculine aspect of the psyche, as essential for a woman to develop the capacity to establish logical and protective boundaries. When this integration occurs, a woman no longer needs to be aggressive to be heard. Her mere presence and serenity already command the respect necessary for her peace. The reconstruction of her aura ends when she stops fighting the world to defend herself and begins to inhabit her own inner strength as an impregnable fortress. This awakening transforms her energy, making it dense and radiant at the same time, attracting only what is worthy of her time and generous attention. Unwavering serenity is the sign of someone who has already forgiven herself and freed herself from the past. now focusing only on her own evolution and conscious awakening. It is proof that you are the queen of your own soul, ruling with wisdom and protecting your kingdom with unwavering clarity. To cultivate this trait, it is fundamental to practice detachment from the consequences of others' actions, focusing only on your own integrity and response to life's events. A powerful aura is a daily construction made of small no's to disrespect and big yeses to your own constant emotional and mental health. Maturity brings the realization that you cannot change others, but you can completely change the impact others have on your internal vibration. Reconstruction is complete when your peace ceases to be a goal and becomes your natural state of existence, the ground where your light shines without interruption. Jung believed that the individual who achieves this totality becomes a center of healing for themselves and the world around them through their example of life. Inhabit your serenity, for it is the ultimate expression of your powerful aura and the seal of your total liberation from all shadows. According to Carl Jung, a truly powerful aura doesn't come from being perfect, but from being whole, through the courageous integration of all aspects of the psyche, including the shadow. Women who radiate this magnetic energy are those who have stopped hiding their wounds and have begun to use them as sources of wisdom and profound discernment. By accepting the parts of themselves that previously caused shame or fear, a woman removes the internal divisions that drained her vitality and clarity of purpose. This reconstruction process generates a totality that is felt as a massive force, a presence that doesn't waver because it no longer has anything to hide from itself. Awakening occurs the moment you realize that your shadow contains the gold necessary for your emotional sovereignty and your protection against manipulation. A powerful aura is, therefore, the radiance of a soul that has reconciled with its own history and now walks with absolute integrity. This integration allows a woman to instantly recognize toxic patterns in others, as she has already identified these same impulses within herself and brought them under the control of her consciousness. She is no longer a victim of unpleasant surprises, as her intuition is sharpened by maturity and the honest confrontation with her own human reality. Jung explained that the shadow is the gateway to the self, and crossing that gateway is what gives a woman the authority to govern her own life with wisdom and firm boundaries. Rebuilding a powerful aura requires you to stop projecting your needs onto others and begin nurturing your own being with the clarity of someone who knows themselves deeply. This secret signal communicates an authenticity that is impossible to fake, attracting connections based on truth and repelling those who seek only masks and ego games. Wholeness is the ultimate shield, because when you know yourself completely, no one can use your insecurities against you to control you. By embracing her wholeness, a woman stops seeking external validation to feel valid, because her source of self-worth is now internal and inexhaustible in her essence. Maturation brings the realization that the exhausting experiences of the past were merely the purifying fire that removed the illusions and weaknesses of the immature soul. The reconstruction of a powerful aura is the final act of rebellion against a world that tries to keep women fragmented and dependent on the approval of others to feel safe. By shining with the light of wholeness, you become a beacon of consciousness that inspires the awakening of others, while protecting your own sacred space. The emotional turning point is complete when you look in the mirror and no longer see just a face, but a story of overcoming, transformation, and a silent strength that nothing can extinguish. Jung teaches us that the goal of life is individuation, and your powerful aura is the seal that you are fulfilling your destiny with courage and dignity. The integration of the shadow also brings an unexpected lightness, as the weight of sustaining a persona of false perfection is finally left behind on the path of awakening. Women with powerful auras laugh at their own flaws, and learn from their mistakes, without this shaking their foundation of self-respect and unwavering peace in their daily lives. They understand that life is a continuous flow of rebirth, and that each cycle's ending is an opportunity to shine with an even more refined and conscious light. The reconstruction of the aura involves this state of radical acceptance, where you become your best friend and your fiercest defender against any attempt at disrespect or belittling. This energy is felt as a vibration of fullness that calms environments and imposes a new standard of treatment based on truth and reciprocity. Wholeness is your greatest victory, proof that light has triumphed over confusion and that you are now the absolute mistress of your own psyche and journey. At this stage, the magnetism of your aura becomes so strong that you begin to attract circumstances and people that reflect your new level of consciousness and spiritual maturity. Reconstruction is the foundation of a life where control no longer has a place, and where the freedom to be who you are becomes your greatest treasure and constant joy. Jung emphasized that the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed, and your powerful aura now transforms everything around you. Inhabit your totality, for in it resides the ultimate secret of your strength and the guarantee that your awakening will be eternal and full of radiant light. You are no longer a fragment seeking to complete yourself in another. You are the totality that overflows with peace and clarity for all who have eyes to see your truth. This radiance is your legacy, the mark of a woman who dared to look inward and found the universe within herself. Jung believed that conscious isolation is vital for replenishing the soul and maintaining clarity in the face of the debilitating distractions and demands of the modern world. Women with this quiet strength are not afraid of solitude. They seek it as a sanctuary of reconstruction where they can hear the voice of the self without interference from external manipulations. This retreat communicates to the world that you are not available to be consumed, and that your time is a resource you govern with unwavering authority and self-respect. The powerful aura is preserved in these moments of silence, where you process what you have experienced and plan your next turn with the wisdom of someone who knows their own limits. This strategic withdrawal is what prevents a conscious woman from becoming a victim of emotional exhaustion or controlling patterns that seek to drain her vitality and make her manipulable. By distancing herself from environments and people who do not honor her light, she signals that her peace is more important than any social obligation or immature need for belonging. The reconstruction of a powerful aura depends on this periodic replenishment, where the soul cleanses itself of external projections and recovers its original vibration of clarity and unconditional peace. Jung explained that the soul needs periods of introversion to integrate experiences and transform them into real and lasting maturation in the human psyche. By embracing this secret signal, you become unreachable by the shadows that try to trap you in cycles of drama and unnecessary worry about what others think or do. Often, social pressure attempts to label this withdrawal as coldness or disinterest, but for the powerful woman, it is an act of legitimate self-defense and preservation of her spiritual awakening. She understands that she cannot give what she does not have, and that to shine intensely, she needs to diligently and lovingly tend to the flame of her own inner fuse. The reconstruction of the aura involves the courage to say enough to external demands and retreat into the womb of her own creativity and deep self-reflection. This movement of returning to the soul's home strengthens the boundaries of serenity and prepares the woman to return to the world with renewed strength and an even clearer vision. It is a cycle of constant rebirth, where solitude is seen as the greatest ally of individuation and the strengthening of the protective energy field. Jung viewed the inner house as the place where treasure is kept, and strategic withdrawal is the way to ensure that no one enters this sacred space without the invitation of consciousness. Women with a powerful aura are selective with their time and with the people they allow into their intimate circle of trust and genuine emotional exchange. They understand that the quality of their connections depends on the quality of their inner state, and therefore invest heavily in their own mental and emotional reconstruction every day. This secret signal communicates an independence that is the foundation of true sovereignty, because it shows that you don't need anyone to feel complete or happy in your essence. The powerful aura shines brighter when you emerge from your withdrawal, bringing with it a peace that is felt by all as a natural and serene authority over one's own life. Cultivate these moments of replenishment as if they were rituals consecrating your own self-worth and your journey of unconditional awakening. Rebuilding your life requires you to be the absolute priority of your attention, and strategic retreat is the practical exercise of this new hierarchy of importance and clarity. By strengthening yourself in silence, you ensure that your aura is an impenetrable fortress against the shadows of manipulation and disrespect that seek only to diminish you. Jung teaches us that the soul is a vast universe, and exploring it in solitude is the greatest adventure a conscious woman can undertake in her search for wholeness and peace. Return to your center whenever necessary, for it is there that the eternal source of your powerful aura and your total liberation from all toxic and debilitating patterns resides. Wise indifference is a psychic attitude where one simply removes all importance from attempts at control by others. Jung explained that the power of a complex or a manipulator depends on the emotional charge we give it, and when that charge is removed, the toxic influence disappears immediately. This indifference is not hatred or resentment, but a state of clarity where you realize that the actions of others do not define your worth, nor do they have the power to disturb your awakening. The reconstruction of a powerful aura involves this mental discarding of everything that is petty and immature, allowing vital energy to focus only on what promotes your maturation and inner peace. When did you realize that indifference was your greatest weapon for protection and liberation against debilitating patterns? Subscribe to the channel to strengthen your process of rebirth and daily silent strength. Wise indifference manifests itself the moment you stop trying to understand the motivations of the person who hurt you and focus entirely on your own healing and the reconstruction of your sovereign life. You understand that the other person's emotional immaturity is their problem, and that your only responsibility is to your own evolution and the clarity of your current consciousness. Jung saw this detachment as essential for individuation, as it cuts the bonds of dependence that keep us trapped in projections and expectations of change that will never come from external sources. The powerful aura shines with a protective coolness that prevents the drama of others from penetrating your vibrational field, maintaining your unwavering peace even in the face of subtle attacks or constant psychological pressures. This signal communicates that you have already left the game of control, and that you now inhabit a level of consciousness where disrespect no longer finds fertile ground to grow or affect you. To cultivate this indifference, it's necessary to understand that your self-worth is non-negotiable, and that the opinions of those living in the shadows have no authority over your destiny. Women with powerful auras discard the need to have the last word or to prove they are right, because their own integrity is their only necessary and sufficient validation before the world. The reconstruction of the soul requires you to clear your mind of internal dialogues with those who should have already been left behind on the path of maturity and clarity. Jung suggested that energy follows attention, and by withdrawing your attention from manipulation, you kill the toxic pattern through starvation and recover your sacred vitality for projects that truly matter. The powerful aura becomes dense and magnetic when your attention is focused only on the self and your own journey of light and permanent positive transformations. This wise indifference is felt by the manipulator as a total defeat, because he realizes he no longer possesses the necessary hooks to pull you back into the cycle of devaluation and recurring pain. The conscious woman walks with a lightness that is the mark of one who has forgiven herself and freed herself from all the shackles of neediness that previously made her vulnerable to unnecessary haste and control. The reconstruction of a powerful aura is the seal that you are now sovereign over your own emotions, deciding with authority what deserves your involvement and what should be discarded with a wise and firm silence. Maturation brings the realization that life is too short to be wasted on battles that do not lead to the awakening of the soul and the lasting peace of a healed heart. This secret sign is the invisible armor that protects your light, allowing you to flourish in any soil regardless of the shadows that try to surround you with their empty illusions. A powerful aura and wise indifference walk hand in hand, creating a presence that inspires respect and does not accept crumbs of affection in exchange for sacrificing its inner truth and dignity. Jung teaches us that liberation happens in the mind and is reflected in all our external reality, attracting circumstances that honor our new vibration of clarity and integral self-respect. Reconstruction is the act of taking back the reins of your energy field, making it immune to influences that seek only to consume your brilliance to feed the emptiness of those who refuse to look within themselves. By embracing this sign, you confirm your rebirth as a woman who can no longer be controlled, for your connection with the self is now the unshakable center of your conscious existence. Proceed with the indifference of one who knows who they are and where they are going, leaving to the ashes what does not have the strength to accompany your majestic flight towards the light. Unwavering confidence in one's own intuition, which Carl Jung saw as the direct voice of the self, guiding the journey of individuation in the world. It is the ability to hear that silent voice that warns when something is out of harmony, even when all external evidence tries to prove otherwise with masks and social lies. Women with this powerful aura do not negotiate their inner perception in exchange for fleeting security or affection that demands the silencing of their conscious and mature clarity. They understand that intuition is their personal oracle, an ancestral protective tool that keeps them on the path of truth and the reconstruction of their own resilient and sacred strength. This sign communicates an authority born from connection with mystery and with one's own soul, making awakening something that no one can contest or shake with tactics of mental confusion and doubt. Recovered intuition allows a woman to feel the impact of a boundary invasion even before it occurs, enabling a strategic retreat that preserves her peace and complete self-respect. Jung explained that intuition connects us with collective and spiritual knowledge, offering insights that common logic often fails to grasp in the shadows of chronic emotional manipulation. Rebuilding a powerful aura depends on the constant validation of this inner voice, acting according to what it reveals, even if it means the sudden closure of cycles that others consider stable. By honoring her intuition, the conscious woman signals that her life is governed by higher inner laws and not by the whims and pressures of emotionally immature and toxic people around her. The aura shines with a prophetic light, communicating that you are in tune with the truth and that your conscience is the only compass you follow with complete fidelity. To strengthen this signal, it is necessary to practice actively listening to your own body and the sensations that arise in daily encounters and dialogues, learning to differentiate intuition from projected fear. The reconstruction of the soul requires you to clear the channels of perception, removing the noise of anxiety and the need to please that previously muffled the sovereign voice of your conscious and attentive self. Jung suggested that meditation and silence are the fields where intuition flourishes, offering clarity for the necessary turns towards total liberation and psychic and human maturation. The powerful aura becomes vibrant and firm when you act with the certainty of someone who has listened to their own inner oracle and decided to trust the wisdom that emanates from their own divine and protective center. This secret signal is the mark of someone who is no longer blind, but who now sees human reality with the eyes of an integrated soul and a consciousness that no longer accepts lies. This intuitive authority is what makes a woman with a powerful aura immune to gaslighting and other forms of mind control that seek to unbalance the victim's perception and basic emotional security. She knows what she knows, and no external explanation can remove the clarity that herself has provided her in the silence of her self-reflection and her deep healing process. The reconstruction of her life involves this constant reaffirmation of her own truth, transforming her into a phoenix that rises from the ashes of confusion into the light of absolute and resilient certainty. Maturation brings the realization that her inner compass is her greatest treasure, and that protecting it is the guarantee that she will never again get lost in labyrinths of other people's unhealthy shadows. The powerful aura is the reflection of this unwavering connection, a glow that communicates that she is the sole owner of her mind and her heart, awakened to the wonders of real and conscious life. Dwell in your intuition, for within it lies the ultimate secret to your protection and the infallible guide to the fullness of your journey of individuation and spiritual wholeness in the modern world. A powerful aura is the physical manifestation of this alignment with the self, attracting to your life only that which honors your light and respects your new and non-negotiable internal and external sovereignty. Jung teaches us that we are the captain of our own soul, and intuition is the guiding star that leads us safely through any sea of illusions and exhausting external manipulations. Your awakening is complete when you realize that the voice you have been searching for outside has always been whispering within you, waiting for the moment of your total reconstruction and self-respect. A powerful aura is proof that you have listened, and that you now walk with the dignity of one who knows that truth is your only dwelling place and protection against all evils. The magnetism that emanates from her radical authenticity, a state of being where there are no longer gaps between who she is internally and what she shows to the world. Jung stated that the person who becomes herself emanates an energy that organizes the environment around her, forcing truth to appear and falsehood to retreat from her vibrant presence. This authenticity is born from the courage to no longer perform to please others, embracing her history with all its marks of reconstruction and overcoming final stages of deep pain. By being real, the conscious woman attracts only what is worthy of her brilliance, creating a life where clarity and self-respect are the currencies in all her relationships. Your epic rebirth is proof that truth sets you free, and that authenticity is the greatest sign of maturity you can offer the world and yourself. Subscribe to the channel to celebrate your journey of light. This magnetism acts as a natural filter, repelling those who live behind masks and attracting those who also seek integrity and the depth of real and nourishing connections for the conscious soul. The reconstruction of a powerful aura reaches its peak when you feel comfortable in your own skin, no longer needing justifications for your choices regarding boundaries and the closure of toxic cycles. Jung explained that wholeness is what makes us lastingly attractive, as it communicates a peace that does not depend on the fluctuations of others' opinions or external and manipulative control. By inhabiting your radical authenticity, you become unreachable by the shadows that tried to diminish you, because your light is now anchored in the self, and no longer in the fleeting approval of immature people around you. The powerful aura is the visible expression of this spiritual triumph, an energy field that radiates dignity, silent strength, and an unconditional peace that everyone around you feels. The reconstruction of your identity involves shedding all the personas you've built to survive disrespect and embracing your true, healed, and integrated self in the face of life and destiny. Maturity brings the realization that your conscious vulnerability is one of your greatest strengths, allowing you to connect with life fully and without fear of being hurt again by the shadow. Your powerful aura shines with a transparency that frightens those who have secrets to hide and inspires those who seek the same liberation and clarity of soul on their own journey. This secret signal communicates that you are no longer a puppet of the past, but the architect of your own future, shaping each day with the firmness of someone who knows their own sacred value. It is the rebirth of a woman who dared to be herself in a world of simulations, becoming a phoenix of consciousness that illuminates the path for all who seek the truth. Jung teaches us that individuation is the only path to true happiness, and your radical authenticity is proof that you have walked this path with courage, facing pain to find your glorious awakening. The powerful aura is the result of transforming each emotional impact into a lesson of sovereignty and unwavering boundaries against the pressure and control of emotionally immature and toxic minds. You now walk with an authority that needs no words, for your mere presence establishes the tone of respect and truth that you demand in your vital and sacred space in the modern world. The reconstruction is complete when you become the person you were always meant to be, free from all the debilitating patterns and shackles of past deprivation. The powerful aura is your inheritance, the radiance of a soul that has found itself and now celebrates its wholeness with gratitude, clarity, and an unconditional peace that nothing can shake or extinguish. Embrace your magnetism, for it is the reward of your fidelity to the self and the sign that you have won the battle against the inner and outer shadow through your constant process of healing and reconstruction. Your powerful aura is your new reality, a frequency of light that protects, attracts, and transforms everything that comes into contact with your awakened and matured consciousness, nurtured by real and profound life. Jung said that the goal of life is for the ego to surrender to the self, and your current radiance is evidence of this sacred surrender that has brought you sovereignty and the lasting peace of a healed heart. Proceed with the dignity of one who is authentic until the end, honoring your history and shining with the strength of one who has discovered that the greatest glory is simply being yourself in all your divine and conscious magnitude. Awakening is now, and your powerful aura is the beacon that guides your steps towards fullness and total freedom forever. The final stage of a woman with a powerful aura is the establishment of the throne of inner sovereignty, where she governs her own psyche with the wisdom of a queen who has integrated all her experiences. Jung described this state as the realization of the self, where the woman is no longer affected by the shadows of others, because her foundation of self-respect and clarity is now an unshakable rock before time. The aura of light she emanates is the definitive sign of her total liberation, an energy field that communicates that the time of being manipulable or feeling insignificant has come to its absolute and final end. The reconstruction of her life reaches its fullness, transforming the impact of past pain into the golden glow of a consciousness that now lives in the present with unconditional peace and a silent, radiant strength. You are proof that rebirth is possible, and that wholeness is the prize for those who have the courage to awaken and rebuild themselves faithfully to their own sacred and divine value. This aura of light protects your inner garden from any attempt to encroach upon its boundaries, establishing an atmosphere of natural respect where only what is real and nourishing is allowed to flourish around you. Maturation has brought the realization that your vitality is the fuel of your life's purpose, and that it must be guarded with loving vigilance against emotionally immature and toxic minds. Inner sovereignty allows you to live with a spontaneity that is the hallmark of profound healing, acting with the freedom of one who owes nothing to anyone and who is the absolute master of her own destiny. The reconstruction is complete when you realize that your powerful aura is your greatest legacy to the world, inspiring the awakening of other women through your example of strength, clear boundaries, and unwavering peace.